Another thing I want to talk about, since I was talking about medical stuff, is I just want to talk a little bit about my own medical stuff again. I know I've done it a bunch of times, but you know, when you make videos, then not everybody goes back and listens to all those different ones. You kind of keep putting some of the same information out over and over and over. Anyways, I wanted to talk about that. And one thing is I've got Mengele stuck in my head, lock and load, Mengele. And Fauci is 100%. He's replaying that role, 100%. And this lock and load mentality. These old white men and their lock and load that are, virtue signaling to the rest of us. Get in line. Get in line. What I say goes. What I say goes. Like, dude, look, I divorced a few of you. No, sorry. May work with some of these other people. It's not going to work for me. It's the hypocrisy, the upside down. It's nutty. But so I wanted to, put that out there. I think it's on my mind a lot because when I was talking to my sister the other day, and she started commenting about this big lump on my head, because so I was thinking a lot about that. But so when I was a kid, I was born. I shouldn't have been born. My mom took an abortion pill. She was 16. Her mom was a head nurse in the hospital, like very, very top head nurse. Like she was in charge. And she had been for a long, long time. She was very work. But she had 4 kids by herself because her husband left her. He was a womanizer and left her for another woman. And she was left with these 4 kids, not child support or anything like that. Why would a guy do that? Raise them by herself. It was her responsibility. She was stupid enough to marry a womanizing pig. So but she was very driven at work, and she was the top. And so when my mom got pregnant, she was the oldest child, and she just brought her home an abortion pill and said, you're taking this. And didn't work. Baby kept growing. It's like, I'm coming, people. I'm coming. Prepare yourself. And so I was born. I was late, though, apparently. My mom's constantly saying that I was 11 months in her stomach. I don't know how that makes sense. To me, it's kind of like, okay, well, maybe the abortion pill worked and then you got pregnant again. But I don't think she was allowed to go and hang out with my dad at that time. I'm not sure, the whole thing. But anyways, the pill didn't work. And so she had me, and she had to get married because it was 1960. And I was born in 61. So there was not, you didn't have options. You got married or you were sent off to a nunnery or whatever those things are called. And your baby was given up for adoption. So she married my dad, and they came from farmer families. It was in the Midwest, which I think most of the people who had jobs back then were farm families. I think most of the people, that they went to school with were all farmers. So, well, my mom was in a city, but still, her dad was a farmer. My grandma was a nurse. So they lived in town. But my dad, he lived out on a farm, but he wasn't in school with her. He was just pulling up out front like they did in the movies with his really cool, shiny hot rod. He was 20, coming in trying to hit on the high school girls. Maybe junior high, I don't know. He had a problem. And it persisted his entire life. There was no line he wouldn't cross. And so then, and my dad was a severe alcoholic and, died of liver failure and cancer of the liver, because when liver failure fails you, and your liver just keeps on trying to. My dad lived in liver failure for so long and kept drinking. Everybody was like, oh my God, he is a devil. There's no way. How can... Yeah, my dad had a bad reputation for being a demon. That's for sure. And, but in one fight, we were well off, really well off. And, we always had rich people around and stuff. And that's where I got the idea of like, these people have no integrity, no moral fiber whatsoever. Money doesn't mean anything. And that's when I really started seeing it. Like, having money doesn't make you a good person. Sorry, folks. And then, a matter of fact, a lot of them feel more justified to do whatever the hell they want. And, but my mom and dad, they were very, the fighting was insane at my house. Absolutely insane. And violent, super, super violent. But one of the times my dad tried to hit my mom with a chair, but instead it hit me in the face and broke my nose and hit me in the head. And it just, you know, it kind of set a pattern for my life for a long time. And it's crazy because my guides were talking to me by the time I was 4. I remember so clearly the first time I heard him talk, and I've talked about it so many times. But the first time was when my family, I was 4, had sent me in to get a glass of water for my little brother who was 2. And it irritated me so much that I decided I was going to put soap in the water. And that's when my guides started talking to me and telling me, you know, if I did that, I was going to get in trouble. I better not do that. And, you know, and that's when and at 4, I thought, oh, this is that devil and the angel on my shoulder. You know, this one's telling me and this one's telling me. But I put the soap in and took it out and gave it to him and got in trouble. And then my eyes were like, told you. And they were right. So I knew that they were there to watch over me. And they were always telling me stuff. I didn't always listen, just like I didn't listen then. And, you know, going through my whole life of just like this, I don't know, just, I feel like kind of just beat down, kind of just hopeless. Just like, oh my God, does anything ever get better? Is this just like life is? It's just horrible like this? And at some point, I started having migraines and went on some medicine for a couple months. And it was supposed to, the neurologist said, take it for a couple months. It stops the cycle and you won't have migraines for a long time. So then much later, like I think 10 or 12 years later, I started having them again. And so when they started trying to figure out, you know, why I was getting these migraines, and I was saying, well, just put me back on the medicine. It stopped it for 10 years. And, but that's when they started going in and finding all this other stuff and telling me, you know, I had scoliosis, my back's all jacked up, my neck's all jacked up, and that it was causing spasms, you know, all this stuff when they start telling you. And I need to take medicine. So they start me on medicine, and then once they start you, they've got you. There's no stopping them, man. You need this one. You need this one. You need 2 of those. You need this one along with that one. Well, you better take this one. And you better switch this one. You better take that one with this and blah, blah, blah. And no matter what, when you come back, well, I've got, you know, this problem. Oh, you know, after a while, you start feeling like, what, am I the most sickliest person on the planet? And I just keep getting sicker and sicker. Like, what the fuck is going on? And I got sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker. And, oh man, there was some time that I was so sick. And I had no idea what was wrong with me. You know, but apparently, while I'm going through all of this, I'm also curing myself of Hep C and mono somehow, you know. So I guess once you have the antibodies of something, then you've had it. That's what they've told me, you know, that I had these things. And, but I don't remember being sick like that. I was sick like differently. And then I had so many problems with my uterus. I had 4 kids, which to me is kind of, you know, lately when there's been so much stuff about the miscarriages and stuff like that. I was like, man, I feel really fortunate. When you go in and you fill out those papers as a woman, you have to put how many births, how many miscarriages, how many abortions, how many live births, and, all this whole thing about your baby making history. And I'm always 4 for 4, but there's so many people. And it's weird is because when I was younger, I talk about my identity crisis as being a girl because I was so, to me, I thought I was just completely weird looking. I was like really super tall and skinny. I didn't have any shape. I didn't have a period. I was just, really lanky and gangly and, kind of a goofus. And, so I just kept thinking, I think I wasn't supposed to be a girl. Why aren't I getting like boobs and stuff? And it made me super insecure. I had a really hard time for a while. And, but, I have empathy for people who go through that because I know it is difficult. But, right now they're trying to feed that. They want you to not feel secure with yourself at all. That's their hope. And so when they had me on all those medicines, then I started having, I had a whole bunch of problems with my uterus. And I was growing cysts and stuff. And so I had to go in. They said I had to get this, I had to get this emergency surgery, get this, has to be taken care of right away. And they said my uterus was coming out of my vagina. There was so much blood and pressure and fibroids. It was just falling out of me. So when they went in to do that, so mind you, I'm already on all their medications. I'm super, super sick. And I've been sick for quite a while. I go in to get surgery, and the nurses were offended that I was on medication. They were offended I was a nurse. And so they just decided they weren't going to care for me. I was just annoying. And I actually had one tell me I was a drug addict. At the time, I only had one tattoo, a big lizard on my back that I've had for, I don't know, I got it when I was 18. I didn't get it when I was 19. I got it when I was 28. It's like 30-something years that I've had this tattoo. And, but they decided I was a drug addict. So we're not going to give her pain medicine. She's just a drug addict. And so when I went in to get the surgery, it just so happened that my anesthesiologist was committing fraud. And so he was doubling up on anesthesia on everybody. So he was trying to do the same on me, but because of my scoliosis, he couldn't do it properly. So he ended up just kept poking holes in my back and puncturing my spinal fluid. So all my fluid leaked out. I didn't have any fluid left. And that's super serious. You die from it. And so they didn't never pass it on in report. They never mentioned it. When I woke up and started telling them I was having a horrible headache, they're just like, oh, I don't know. The one nurse who had decided I was a drug addict and she wasn't going to medicate me anymore, she, I was in tears. I was in so much pain. I had my kids natural, and I'd never felt anything like this. It was the most pain I've ever experienced in my life. Brain crushing and trying to come out the back of your squeeze, pressurized in there. So it was trying to squeeze down into the, the little tube that goes down to give the fluid to the rest of your spine. Your brain's trying to smush down and go out of it. And so, my brain is collapsing and drying up and crushing, I guess. So it took them 5 days to figure it out. I should have been dead probably by the second day. And then, I had court and everything. But that turned into a whole ordeal because they can't admit fault. So nobody wanted to touch the girl with the brain injury. They had to make it like I was crazy. And, but that just turns into, there's so much stuff that's a whole nother thing. When you start getting into the legal stuff, and especially in a town like, maybe it would be different if it would have been Seattle or LA, but I don't think so. These doctors still go to the same dinners and stuff like that. They're still around each other. They still cover each other as part of their oath. It's not to protect us, it's to protect each other. So, you know, I was on my own. I wasn't getting rehab or anything for a brain injury. I was just trying to figure it out myself. And I had no idea what was going on. And, you know, my kids were telling me that something was wrong with me. They'd tell me stuff and I couldn't remember it. And people were coming up to me. I had no idea who they were. I mean, I was just, oh man, I overdrew my account by almost $1,000. I couldn't figure out time. I couldn't figure out money. I couldn't figure out anything. Luckily, I could still walk and talk. But yeah, it messed up a lot of other stuff. And, you know, I had to figure out how to, function with these limitations that I had. And so, you know, during that, I just kept getting sicker and sicker. And eventually, after, I think it was like 4 years, after 4 or 5 years after my surgery. So this is, I was sick for so many years. And then they diagnosed me with colitis. And, you know, when those drug things say you'll start going to the bathroom in your pants and all of that stuff, they're not joking. You know, when they say that stuff on there, that's just a warning. Just like right now, I heard that they put out the warnings of what was going to happen if you got these. They put it out 2 months before they ever released anything. They already knew what was going to happen. And all of this stuff, the 17 or 20 or whatever it was, I think it was 20 things that they said, these things will happen, which death is number 13. So all of these really bad things are going to happen, and they are. They are all happening because they already know. They know. That's why they put that stuff on the commercials. They know what's going to happen. They're killing our systems. Their drugs are destroying our gut. They're destroying our organs. And so after that is when, you know, everything just came together at a certain point in my life where it was like, okay, I've got to take care of myself. I've got to do this myself. And I went in and I read all about all the drugs and figured out how to wean myself off of them. I stopped taking them all. I started focusing on smoothies. I used RSO or CBD for pain. And, you know, I just went in and just was like, I'm going to take care of this. And just really started focusing on my own self and my own health. And, you know, along after that stuff, and when I went in to get glasses, because my close vision has deteriorated really fast after getting LASIK. It went really quick. I wasn't expecting it to go so fast, but so my close-out vision, I had to start wearing readers by the time I was 50. And so I went in to go get those, and that's when they said I had damage to my optic nerve. And out of how many specialists I've seen for my eyes, I don't know, 20. And two of them have listened to me about the brain injury. And both of them said, that's why you have damage there. It's a lack of fluid, was when the fluid wasn't in there. Other ones I've been told like, oh, you're born that way, you're just deformed and stuff. But yeah, two of them actually listened and put it all together for me. But I have been under all of their treatments and their medicines and their chemicals and, you know, their lasers and stuff. And now I can barely see. Trying to see this is just, that's why I'm always squinting. I think I'm always like squinting because I can't see. And so, you know, to me, they almost killed me with their pills. They almost killed me with their surgeries. They've nearly blinded me. I don't give them any faith at all. And I don't trust them at all. I definitely don't trust them to be putting anything inside of me ever again. And these people who do, you know, they just are ignorant to what really goes on. They put faith in things they shouldn't put faith in. That's the thing about the false idol. That's why I say some of this stuff, you know, there's a lot of stuff in the Bible that is very significant. Like there's stuff that is written there that are lessons for us to learn, you know, but you know, let's not do that. Why would we want to learn lessons? This guy said he would pay for our sins. That's all we need. Yeah. So, anyways, the medical establishment is out for its own self. It's out to make money for its own self. It's not out there to protect us. They're not giving things away free because they're trying to save people. If they were trying to save people giving away things for free, we would have EpiPens for free. We would have insulin for free. There's other life-saving things. There's heart medications that people have to take every day. But the medicines that they are charging people an arm and a leg that they know they can't afford it, that's on purpose. It's the weeding of the herd. They don't want most of us here. And they are 100% trying to sterilize us. They want us to only be able to make babies in a lab, because then they have the ultimate control. You know, they can do whatever they want and hand you anything they want. Say, hey, here's your baby. You just had it. Yeah, these people are absolute evil. They're just because they don't have compassion for other human beings. They don't care. They have no attachment to other human beings. They sold out their soul. They don't have the same kind of connection. So anyways, you know, that's why I feel very motivated to speak out and try and wake people up about the medical, you know, is when one of my daughters, my very first one, she had, you know, they started giving shots right away. I'd never had any experience with that. You know, this was my first child. And they give them a bunch of shots. And she got super, super sick. She was beet red, like so bright red. I think she was 103 temperature. She was screaming for 3 days. So then they decided, well, we'll just give her half doses. It'll be fine. We'll do half dose every couple weeks. So, you know, I was like, oh, okay. I guess that's a good solution. And then, you know, she grew up and she had to go get a tetanus shot a few years ago. And when she did, it ate a hole in her arm. Like actually ate a hole in her arm, actually ate into the muscle or tissue or something. She has a big dent that's discolored and stuff. It's like a scar. And she has that much an allergy to it. And they were giving that to her when she was a tiny baby. So, yeah, they're not out to help us. They're not out to protect us. They're out to manipulate us. And, you know, I feel like I've got tons and tons of story after story of horrible experiences that people have had with the medical. But I feel like I definitely need to speak out about mine. People need to know. You can't trust them. And, you know, they're not going to try and take care of you. They're out to make a buck. You're just a blank piece of paper. You know, you're just a little fluffy sheep going by. They don't even notice that you have anything else. Well, they create their own backstories. So, you know, they're just a creation. So I don't think that they can understand, like, we're really working and trying to make life. Yeah, they're just making pretend life. So, okay, I'm going to stop talking about that and try and focus on watercoloring. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.